From timeless watchmakers to global gaming giants, Japan's richest old money dynasties have shaped industries and culture for generations. These are families whose fortunes were not made overnight, but carefully built over centuries of innovation, tradition, and bold vision. We'll explore the Hattoris of Seiko, who changed the way the world tells time, the Yamauchis of Nintendo, who turned fun into fortune, the Takedas, whose name has defined medicine for over 240 years, and the Toyodas, who built the world's largest automaker. At the very top stands the Saji/Torii family of Suntory, masters of a global spirits empire. This is the untold story of Japan's top 10 richest old money families, where legacy meets lasting wealth. In the number 10 position, we have the Hattori family, the legendary name behind Seiko, one of Japan's most iconic watch brands. Their story begins with Kintaro Hattori, a young entrepreneur who opened a tiny watch and jewelry shop in Tokyo back in 1881. What started as a small business quickly grew into a dynasty that redefined timekeeping, not just in Japan, but across the world. The Hattori family didn't just sell watches. They built them with precision and passion. By 1913, Seiko had produced Japan's very first wristwatch, a groundbreaking moment that put the country on the global map of craftsmanship. Today, Seiko's reputation stretches from luxury showcases in Geneva to bustling streets in Tokyo. At the heart of it all, the Hattori family still plays a guiding role, holding shares and protecting the legacy of their ancestor. What makes their fortune so unique is not just the money behind the watches, but the cultural weight they carry. Think of how Seiko became the official timekeeper of the Olympic Games, or how Grand Seiko now rivals Switzerland's best. Every tick of a Seiko watch is tied to a century-old family story of resilience, precision, and innovation. Unlike flashy fortunes made overnight, the Hattoris embody what old money in Japan really means: patience, craftsmanship, and reputation carefully guarded over generations. They may not be the wealthiest dynasty on this list, but their influence is timeless, much like the watches that bear their name. In the number 9 position, we have the Mogi, Takanashi, and Horikiri families, the powerful dynasties behind Kikkoman, the company that turned soy sauce into a global empire. Their story begins in the small town of Noda, where these families ran competing soy sauce breweries for centuries. In 1917, they came together, merging their businesses into one company that would go on to dominate kitchens and dining tables across the world. Kikkoman isn't just a household name in Japan, it's a brand recognized in nearly every corner of the globe. From Tokyo to Los Angeles, chefs and families alike rely on that iconic orange-capped bottle. And behind it all, the original founding families still play a role, owning shares and maintaining influence over the business. Their fortune may not flash across magazine covers, but their wealth flows steadily from every stir-fry, sushi roll, and marinade made with Kikkoman soy sauce. What makes this dynasty so fascinating is their ability to adapt. After World War II, when many Japanese businesses struggled, Kikkoman boldly expanded into the United States. They didn't just export soy sauce. They built factories in America, introduced Japanese flavors to Western kitchens, and turned a traditional condiment into a global cultural bridge. That vision transformed the families from local brewers into international tastemakers. Their wealth today is spread across generations, trusts, and company holdings. But the legacy remains the same: centuries of patience, cooperation, and strategy. The Mogi, Takanashi, and Horikiri clans built something that outlives trends, a brand that ties East and West together through flavor. In Japan's world of old money, these families proved that sometimes the greatest fortunes are built, not on steel or oil, but on something as simple and as powerful as soy sauce. In the number 8 position, we have the Ishibashi family, the founders of Bridgestone, the tire empire that grew from a humble Japanese workshop into the largest tire manufacturer in the world. The story begins with Shojiro Ishibashi, whose very name translates to Stone Bridge. In 1931, he had a vision: Japan needed to stop relying on imported tires and build its own. That dream laid the foundation for Bridgestone, a company that would not only dominate Japanese roads, but also conquer highways around the globe. The Ishibashi family's success was never just about rubber, it was about innovation and bold moves. In 1988, Bridgestone made headlines when it acquired Firestone, one of America's biggest tire companies. This risky gamble transformed the brand overnight into a global powerhouse. Even today, Bridgestone is the official tire supplier for major sports, from Formula One in the past to the Olympics, keeping the family name firmly tied to speed, strength, and endurance. What makes the Ishibashi dynasty's wealth fascinating is how it continues to evolve. While the company is now run by professional executives, the family still holds a significant stake in influence. Their fortune stretches beyond dividends. It is embedded in a legacy of engineering, global expansion, and the unstoppable demand for mobility. Wherever there's a road, there's likely a Bridgestone tire carrying the load, and behind that success is the vision of a family who believed Japan could compete with the West. The Ishibashis are proof that old money doesn't have to be quiet. Their empire is loud, rolling across continents with every car, bus, and truck tire they produce. From a small workshop in Kurumi to a global stage, this family turned rubber into one of Japan's greatest industrial fortunes. In the number 7 position, we have the Yamauchi family, the dynasty that transformed Nintendo from a small Kyoto card shop into one of the most powerful entertainment companies in the world. The journey began in 1889, when Fusajiro Yamauchi started making handmade Hanafuda playing cards. For decades, Nintendo was just a niche card company, but everything changed under Hiroshi Yamauchi, the third-generation president, who saw a future far bigger than playing cards. Hiroshi Yamauchi was a visionary. In the 1970s, he steered Nintendo into video games, a decision that would rewrite global entertainment history. Under his leadership came characters like Mario, Donkey Kong, and Zelda, names that became cultural icons for generations. Nintendo didn't just make games, it shaped childhoods, built fan communities, and created worlds where imagination could run free. And with every console sold, from the NES to the Switch, the Yamauchi fortune grew stronger. Even after Hiroshi's passing, the family influence hasn't faded. His descendants inherited sizable shares and established the Yamauchi number 10 family office to manage their wealth. While they may no longer control daily operations, their legacy remains tied to Nintendo's massive success. Every time Nintendo breaks sales records, launches a new console, or turns a franchise into a blockbuster movie, the Yamauchi name echoes in the background. What sets the Yamauchis apart from other dynasties is their ability to reinvent tradition. From paper cards to digital consoles, they embraced risk, challenged norms, and turned fun into fortune. Their wealth is measured not only in billions, but also in influence. Nintendo's creations are part of global culture. The Yamauchi family reminds us that old money isn't always built on steel or land. Sometimes it's built on joy, imagination, and the unforgettable magic of play. In the number 6 position, we have the Takeda family, the guardians of Japan's oldest and most powerful pharmaceutical empire, Takeda Pharmaceutical. Their story began way back in 1781, when Shobei Takeda started selling traditional herbal medicines in Osaka. At the time, Japan was still a closed-off society, yet Takeda built trust by focusing on quality and consistency. That commitment to health planted the seed of a dynasty that would endure for more than 2 centuries. As Japan modernized, so did Takeda. By the late 19th century, the company began importing Western medicines and eventually manufacturing them domestically. The Takeda family didn't just keep pace with global science, they pushed ahead. Under the leadership of Chobei's descendants, the company became a pioneer in cutting-edge pharmaceuticals, producing everything from essential antibiotics to life-saving oncology drugs. Today, Takeda is Japan's largest drug maker and a true global player. What makes the Takeda family's fortune remarkable is its balance of heritage and innovation. Few families can claim a 240-year legacy in business, and even fewer in an industry as volatile as medicine. Their strategy of blending tradition with global expansion paid off, especially in recent years when Takeda acquired Shire, a massive Irish drug company, in one of the biggest deals in Japanese corporate history. Though professional executives now run the firm, the Takeda name still carries weight. The family remains tied to the company's identity, symbolizing stability, long-term vision, and trust. Their wealth is not only about profits, but also about influence in healthcare, where their decisions touch millions of lives across the globe. The Takeda dynasty shows how old money can thrive in science, turning healing into both a mission and a fortune. Their empire proves that medicine, when built on patience and vision, can be one of the strongest moats in history. In the number 5 position, we have the Tsutsumi family, once considered the wealthiest clan in the world during Japan's economic bubble. Their fortune was built on land, railways, and luxury resorts, all tied together under the Seibu Group and Prince Hotels brand. At the center of this empire stood Yoshiaki Tsutsumi, who during the 1980s was ranked as the richest man on earth. His family's holdings stretched from prime Tokyo real estate to ski resorts in Nagano, giving them unmatched influence in Japan's property market. The Tsutsumi story is one of both incredible triumph and dramatic challenges. As Japan's property bubble grew, so did their empire. They owned golf courses, department stores, resorts, and even played a key role in cultural projects like supporting professional sports teams. Their portfolio was not just vast, it was deeply woven into everyday Japanese life. But when the bubble burst in the 1990s, fortunes reversed. Scandals, lawsuits, and financial restructuring tested the dynasty's resilience. Yet unlike many families who disappeared after the crash, the Tsutsumis managed to survive. The family restructured their empire under Seibu Holdings, focusing on railways and their world-famous Prince Hotels chain. Today, they may not command the same overwhelming dominance they once did, but their influence is still strong. Their land holdings alone remain a source of immense value, and their hotels continue to attract millions of guests from around the world. What makes the Tsutsumi family fascinating is their ability to recover from setbacks that would have destroyed others. Their story is a reminder that old money dynasties are not defined by how high they rise, but by how well they endure when fortunes shift. From glory to scandal and back to stability, the Tsutsumis remain one of Japan's most enduring real estate dynasties. In the number 4 position, we have the Iwasaki family, the founders of Mitsubishi, a name that has become almost synonymous with Japanese industry itself. Their story begins in 1870 with Yataro Iwasaki, a former samurai who transformed his maritime experience into a bold vision, a modern shipping company that could rival the Western powers dominating Asia at the time. That single move grew into a conglomerate that would one day span finance, mining, banking, real estate, automobiles, and heavy industry. Mitsubishi wasn't just a company, it was a symbol of Japan's rise. Under the Iwasaki family, the group grew into one of the nation's largest zaibatsu, or family-controlled conglomerates, wielding influence that shaped politics and the economy alike. Their red 3-diamond crest became a national icon, representing power, stability, and ambition. By the early 20th century, the Iwasaki family's fortune stretched across nearly every major industry in Japan, making them one of the most powerful dynasties in the nation's history. World War II changed everything. The Allied occupation dissolved the zaibatsu, breaking Mitsubishi into independent companies. Yet the family's influence didn't vanish, it evolved. Mitsubishi Bank, Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, Mitsubishi Corporation, and Mitsubishi Motors all carried the legacy forward. And even without direct ownership, the Iwasaki name still carries weight in boardrooms and history books. What makes the Iwasaki dynasty remarkable is how their legacy outlived the structure that built it. Their wealth may not be measured in a single fortune today, but in the sprawling network of Mitsubishi companies, where the DNA of their vision still drives decisions. From shipping to space technology, the Iwasakis created a model that other Japanese conglomerates would follow. The Iwasaki family's story is proof that true dynasties don't fade. They transform, embedding themselves into the very fabric of a nation's economy. In the number 3 position, we have the Otsuka family, the dynasty behind Otsuka Holdings, a global powerhouse in both pharmaceuticals and consumer health. Their story began in 1921 when Busaburo Otsuka started a small chemical factory in Tokushima. What seemed like a modest family venture eventually blossomed into a company that would span the globe, creating life-saving medicines and household brands recognized across Asia and beyond. Otsuka's rise was fueled by both bold vision and a willingness to think differently. Unlike other pharmaceutical dynasties that focused only on medicine, Otsuka diversified early, creating products that touched everyday life. One of their most famous inventions, Pocari Sweat, became a cultural icon in Japan, a sports drink that redefined hydration and remains a global bestseller today. At the same time, the company built its reputation in advanced medicine, developing treatments for mental health, oncology, and cardiovascular diseases. The Otsuka family played their cards wisely, blending tradition with modern corporate governance. They structured their control through a founder's trust, holding a significant share block while still allowing the company to operate like a public multinational. This unique balance kept the family's influence alive while ensuring the business could adapt to global competition. It's a model many modern dynasties aspire to, but few execute so effectively. Today, the Otsuka name carries weight in boardrooms and markets alike. Their influence extends far beyond Japan, reaching into hospitals, pharmacies, and supermarkets across the world. What makes their fortune fascinating is not just the billions tied up in shares, but the way the family transformed a small-town factory into a brand that lives on both in medicine and in everyday culture. The Otsuka family shows how old money can thrive when it embraces innovation while carefully protecting its roots. They are proof that heritage and modern strategy can work hand in hand to secure lasting wealth. In the number 2 position, we have the Toyoda family, the visionary dynasty behind Toyota, now the world's largest automaker. Their journey begins with Sakichi Toyoda, an inventive genius who created the automatic loom in the late 1800s. His son, Kichiro Toyoda, carried that spirit forward by founding Toyota Motor Corporation in 1937. At a time when Japan relied heavily on foreign cars, Kichiro dreamed of building vehicles that could stand toe-to-toe with America's giants. That gamble paid off and birthed an empire. From those early cars to today's hybrid and hydrogen innovations, Toyota's story has always been driven by the Toyota DNA: discipline, resilience, and forward thinking. Even in the toughest times like the oil crises of the 1970s or the 2008 global financial crash, Toyota adapted. And through it all, members of the Toyota family played central roles. Akio Toyoda, the charismatic grandson of Kichiro, recently stepped down as president but remains chairman, steering the company through the electric age. His leadership is proof that family influence isn't just ceremonial. It still shapes the heart of Toyota's global strategy. What makes the Toyota dynasty's wealth so compelling is its scale. Even modest family stakes in Toyota translate into billions, simply because of the company's sheer size. Beyond that, their legacy extends through Toyota's sprawling network of suppliers, affiliates, and partner companies. A web of influence that reaches far beyond cars. The Toyota family shows us how old money, when powered by vision and engineering excellence, can scale to heights few families in history ever achieve. They didn't just build cars, they built a culture of trust, quality, and innovation that turned Toyota into a global symbol of reliability. Their fortune is vast, but their true wealth lies in how deeply their name is etched into the future of mobility itself. In the number 1 position, we have the Saji and Torii family, the powerhouse dynasty behind Suntory, a name that began with a humble wine shop in Osaka and grew into a global empire of spirits, beer, and soft drinks. It all started in 1899, when Shinjiro Torii opened his small store, importing Western wines at a time when Japan was still discovering foreign tastes. He didn't just want to sell drinks. He wanted to craft beverages that blended Japanese tradition with international flair. That bold vision laid the foundation for one of the most powerful family fortunes in Japan. Under the leadership of Shinjiro's descendants, Suntory expanded beyond wines into whiskey, creating the now legendary Yamazaki distillery. By the mid-20th century, Suntory whiskey had become a national icon, symbolizing Japan's craftsmanship and sophistication. But the family didn't stop there. They diversified into beer, soft drinks, and, most dramatically, global spirits. In 2014, Suntory shocked the world by acquiring Jim Beam for $16 billion, instantly cementing itself as one of the largest beverage companies on earth. Today, the family's fortune is tied closely to Nobutada Saji, the current leader of the dynasty. Forbes consistently ranks him among Japan's richest individuals, with billions in wealth backed by their controlling stake in the Suntory empire. What makes their fortune even more impressive is how tightly the family has kept control. Unlike many Japanese conglomerates, Suntory remains largely private, allowing the family to shape its long-term vision without outside interference. The Saji/Torii family story is the ultimate example of Japanese old money. Patient, ambitious, and deeply rooted in legacy. From a small wine shop to a global empire of spirits enjoyed in every corner of the world, they built a dynasty that blends tradition with global dominance. Their wealth is vast, but their influence is even greater. A toast to Japan's richest old money family.